So hi everyone, thank you for joining us today. As we are quite a lot of attendees, we propose you introduce yourself directly on the chat by typing your name, position and interest. We are very proud to welcome you with MEDEF International to this series of three online meetups dedicated to the current situation and how we could make it as a new deal for a new city through Blue Ocean strategy for local development. We have built for a French organization a program named BlueCity to deliver this strategy for new public services. And France, since it's a pity, it's one of the only, or maybe an opportunity. France is the only country in the world who never took part to this kind of program until now. Some examples to refresh your mind. You can see a lot of examples on blueoceanstrategy.com internet site. We know United States, Brazil, Singapore, Malaysia, Spain, Italy, Netherlands, Russia. They have all developed a Blue Ocean strategy for local or national development. This morning, we'll firstly discuss the changes COVID crisis can have on the city development, with a special focus on quality of life in the city. This is the topic we have today, this morning. And then we will present principles of Blue Ocean strategy for local development, followed by a case study prepared by Jason Hunter. In the third part, we will detail what our BlueCity program consists of and discuss the opportunity for you to join it on the next month, because it will be included and part of the Blue Ocean Awards 2020 event. So now I will ask Alix from MEDEF International to take
Hi everyone, thank you for joining this morning. I'm Alix Deparat from MEDEF International. Well, if you don't know MEDEF International by now, we provide the solutions for entrepreneurs and French companies that want to go to the international. So we work with a lot of Latin American countries, African countries, and Asian countries. And I am specifically in charge of the Sustainable City Task Force. Can you put the next slide, please? The Sustainable City Task Force is a group of 600 French companies that work on making sustainable cities and promoting sustainable solutions worldwide. We work on 4 pillars: conception, mobility, resilience, and good governance. So we have a very wide grasp of what it is to promote sustainable cities. And we try to work with French companies and with institutional actors to offer our solutions internationally. This is why we are doing this partnership with BlueCity. I think there are a lot of innovation that could be really interesting for cities and local governments. And I think it's important to start this conversation with innovative companies and new solutions and how we can include new users in the city. So this is why we are doing this partnership with BlueCity and Blue Ocean Awards. If you want to know more about the task force, feel free to ask me, send me an email, to just go on the website. And thank you for joining this morning. And yeah, I'll give back the word to Alba.
Thanks, Alix. As Alix said, we are welcome Isabelle Frison from Nouvelle-Aquitaine. We are just a good moment. We talk about Blue Ocean Awards. We are the team of Blue Ocean Awards. Blue Ocean Awards, we have created this. Firstly, it was an event dedicated to startups, French startups, who are creating new markets based on Blue Ocean strategy. And now it became quite bigger, quite more, because we integrate programs, innovation strategy programs, like BlueCity is one of these programs. From 2014, we have identified a lot of key startups with very high potential companies. It's very kind to have Laurent Equili from sorry.
Okay, in a wave.
Okay, in a wave, yeah, I remember. A very interesting solution. You have won 2 times a Blue Ocean Award in the history, and last time was in Bordeaux, in Nouvelle-Aquitaine edition in 2019. And this event is, as I said, is more than an event because we have a lot of hackathons, of programs, innovation program taking place in this event. And this year we would like to have a jury of the cities taking place in Blue Ocean Awards, Paris, Bordeaux, like last year. And this year we are launching Lyon edition for Rhône-Alpes Auvergne. We have I'm very proud to, we have a very good team. Yeah, you can see our team members. We have created this team made of very high-level experts in innovation to develop BlueCity program, to develop innovation programs. They are very complementary, and it's also some of them are in charge of Blue Ocean Awards locally for Bordeaux region, for Lyon area. So I will give the mic to, for instance, to Agnès. I've seen Agnès is connected. Yeah, to introduce Lyon edition.
Hi.
Hi, Agnès.
My name is Agnès Castillon. I'm Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes leader. I'm in charge to organize the Blue Ocean Awards in Lyon and to lead the BlueCity process in Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes. We worked the project in Lyon with Hub 612, an incubator in Lyon, and with Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, which also has its incubator, with the CJD, Centre des Jeunes Dirigeants, and we will work with Lyon Métropole. In Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes, for the moment, we are building the ecosystem around the Blue Ocean Awards.
And in the team, of course, we have Jason. Jason Hunter. Jason has prepared the case. He will show you and introduce the case study just in 5 minutes, and maybe he can introduce himself. Hi, Jason.
Yes, as you said, I'll be introducing the case, and I will tell you a bit more about myself at that time. Thank you.
Okay, great. So here today, we propose use this agenda. First, we'll have maybe 20 minutes about the COVID situation, because with MEDEF International and with Alex, we thought it was very important to have sharing ideas, experience you are currently living now about this situation, and showing, maybe having a proposal about a new start. Yeah, in this bad situation, it can be maybe some opportunities to start again, maybe to create a new city. Then we show you the principles and case study prepared by Jason about Blue Ocean strategy for national development, and at the end we'll present you the principles and operational deployment solution we can have with BlueCity program, and we'll finish with a question and answer session. So let's start with this COVID situation. It could be a new start for local development. Very basically, this COVID situation with quarantine everywhere, half of the world is in quarantine. It's questioning about the urban density first. The first thing, it's about urban density, about sharing spaces in the urbanism of the city, the place of the nature, and the teleworking revolution. This could be also the population. It could bring the population out of these big cities to find maybe more nature, to be less pressure. So here about our topics today, referring to the quality of life in the city, we would like to ask you this question first. What changes can you see in quality of life issues after the crisis in the quality of life in the city? It can be leisure, it can be tourism, it can be art, culture, the quality of life for people in the city. Maybe we are very kind, it's very kind to have today, I've seen Mathieu Bécu from the embassy in South Africa, French embassy in South Africa. I've seen Claude working in read exhibitions. I've seen Isabelle Frison also. Maybe I would like to ask to these three very, very important people, what is your reaction about that? What is your opinion about this quality of life issues? What could be what is, in your opinion, the changes we can face in the next years from this crisis? Maybe Mathieu, you want to start?
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for this opportunity to have a few words on the activity in South Africa. You know, the main challenge we have is the opportunity to think in the future of the city in South Africa. But the crisis now, it's another challenge now. So I think we will lose a lot of time to thinking the future. But at the same time, the fact that you will be able to come and to discuss about the authority will be a very nice opportunity at the same time. So we are very proud to be here today, and we really want to see how we can work tomorrow. And you have good partners now in South Africa, South African guys. So I think we have to support this opportunity and to support your activity in South Africa. So thank you so much also for your commitment in Africa, and for MEDEF International also to be there. I think we have a lot of things to do together, and we have also, you know, what we call Ville Durable, Club Ville Durable, on which we can work together, I think. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mathieu. Maybe Claude Blanc, you want to introduce yourself and tell us, you are in the Read exhibition, a very famous leader in the tourism event organization. You are facing very big challenge now.
Yes, thank you, Alban. Sorry, it's a little bit early in London, 7:30. I was not supposed to talk, so I have not prepared anything.
Okay,
But okay, what I can tell you, of course, we are facing some very challenging time because our core business actually is organizing travel trade organization. So at the moment, being in travel and at the same time in the event organization is the worst place to work in. So that means that we have been forced to postpone our African travel market in Cape Town, likely to be organized last month in Cape Town. And finally, we have decided to postpone it till April 21, because at the moment, as you know, in South Africa, the situation regarding the COVID-19 is very dramatic. The numbers are growing every day, although we don't believe they are very accurate. There are over 7,000 cases at this moment, 138 deceased, and we are far below the reality because now, as you know, the townships are as well very much impacted. So we are working with the city of Cape Town to think about the future in terms of event organization and, of course, tourism destination management. It's too early at the moment to tell much more about it, but as Read Exhibition is very much committed to the tourism and travel development all over the world, we are supporting our destination as much as we can. That's it for the moment.
Yeah, it's clear. Feel free to react, everybody, in the chat, in the texting message chat conversation. Maybe I think we have people from Avitem, Marseille area, public organization. Maybe Clara, I've seen. Do you want to react?
Hello.
Yeah. Oh, no, Carla, no? Carla?
It's Julia speaking, but
Julia,
Carla
okay.
is also here. Nice to be here with you.
Hi, Julia.
So maybe I can speak maybe from the tourism perspective as well. I'm involved in managing sustainable tourism projects, and specifically about over tourism, which is quite not a really relevant topic right now. I agree that it's very early to speak about any kind of perspective in terms of how the tourism industry is going to react. I've been following many conversations in the past weeks about the situation and the impact on tourism sector. There is a lot of uncertainty. What a lot of people seem to be saying is that domestic tourism is going to be probably is going to grow at least in the immediate period, and that it's going to be crucial to build up task forces. The destination management organizations need to build task forces with the actors of the territory to start thinking about how to react in the future and to keep these task forces going, actually. And it was interesting to hear the experience of Iceland, that was struck by a crisis in 2010 during the volcano eruption that stopped completely tourism for many months. And for example, this was an example of this destination that built a task force to react to the crisis. So a lot of uncertainty and some tips or strategies to react that are starting to be identified.
Yeah, who want to react on Julia just said? I've seen we have Michel just join us from the harbor of Bordeaux. Maybe you are directly in touch with this situation. It has a business and tourism impact. You want to say some words, Michel Levanquin?
Yes. Hi everyone. I'm very pleased to be here. I guess you can hear me.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with all the previous people who were talking. It's a little bit early to have some perspective in terms of tourism, and especially in terms of cruises, because Bordeaux, the port of Bordeaux is involved a lot in developing the cruises activities. We had a project which is creating a new cruise terminal in a city called Pauillac, in the near the wines, the vineyards. And typically, I don't know if this project is still sustainable. So we have to think about it and to anticipate what will be the reactions of tourism. Is the cruise is the cruise sustainable tourism? We don't know yet how the people will react. So we have to be very careful about our investment and our strategy.
Yeah, thank you, Michel, for this reaction. Maybe Isabelle Frison, just before you leave, I've just seen you have to leave us this morning. Maybe you want to react just before leaving. Yeah, Isabelle, maybe you have already left. I don't know. Isabelle Frison, no. Okay, she has left. Maybe we have also Laurent Equili, the founder of this famous Blue Ocean Award, OK in a Wave. And you are directly impacted because you are working in tourism. Your project is about tourism, Surfing Wave.
Sorry for my bad English. We are impacted, but in the good sense and not in the bad sense. Okay. Because our innovation, we have the chance, and it's just my testimony. Our innovation, we can put our facilities inside the agglomeration on a lake, on the sea, and it's for us it's a good thing because it's for the domestic tourist. And for example, ProTourism, which is a tourism agency in France, said us last week that it's a good luck for us, because we must have a request, and we can confirm that we have a lot of requests everywhere in the world to provide OK in a Wave in different destinations, and principally for the local tourism.
So for you, it's an opportunity, this crisis, to develop worldwide?
For us, it's a very good opportunity. I'm sorry for over business, but it's a good opportunity for us. Yeah, and there is another fact is this innovation is created for the biodiversity, and it's the other reason why OK in a Wave had a lot of success today.
Thanks a lot. We have Julia reacting from Avitem. You say, Julia, you want to share what you have just typing on the chat?
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, and I saw the Virginie questions coming. I was saying that from what I'm hearing, the key word will be trust. I mean, the DMOs, the destination management organizations, will need to build the trust of travelers, and so ensuring the sanitary conditions even more than before. So this will, I mean, the experts of the sector think that it will be the new priority for the destinations. In terms of transportation, it's very early to say again, but maybe for domestic tourism, it's maybe people will be less encouraged to use public transportation and more encouraged to travel with their cars. It was also interesting to hear the opinion of an expert that was saying, in terms of air travel, a lot of people, for example, in France, already used to go on holidays without taking the plane. So I mean, it's going to be a change in terms of air travel, but not as big as we think, because there are already a lot of people that don't use the plane to travel, and a lot of people also who don't travel at all for their holidays. Maybe they choose to stay in their region.
Yeah, maybe we have Frederic Scholler. You want to react? I think, Frederic, you are an urbanist.
Yes, good morning. Do you hear me? Yes. Yeah. Two things. The problem is human and reactivity problem effectively. For example, we are trying to build, and it's a real project, a new lycée in Djibouti, and it's a French school, of course. And the need is effectively very important. But actually, with the COVID, the people are not are very afraid. African as European living in the country, and they don't want to renew the next year inscription. So the answer from the team is to find a way to flow a new energy and positive way for all the population to see, no, yes, everything is important and communication is important, and it's a work of every day. Every day they try to show to the parents that the life will continue, the school is necessary, and this question of education is very important. In terms of space and public space, it's not the question. The question is, first, you have to go to school, and we have to build a new school. So the challenge is there. And I have something else to say about the France, but later maybe. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. And we have Cécile reacting also. Cécile de Keuer, you want to share your opinion? No, just Cécile told us the speech from the president of the French Federation of Tourism was very interesting. Tourism will change deeply and shall be rethinked and more sustainable. So maybe Claude, you are in charge of very big tourism activities. You want maybe to tell us how we can change this tourism in the city to make it more sustainable. What is your opinion about that?
Well, I'm afraid that at the moment, the concern for sustainability is less important than the concern about
economics,
health, and safety. So unfortunately, in the coming months, everyone will be focused on social distancing and the way to avoid the spread of this COVID-19. So we are at the moment in a position where we have to react and face a dramatic situation. And unfortunately, the sustainability aspect is not on the top of mind of the destination, the tourism destination. We are in a very dramatic situation. So the planet is still, of course, a very crucial topic, but at the moment in some cities around the world, it's a matter of surviving. So this is a priority at the moment where we are focused.
Yeah, sure. Who want to react on this? Maybe Alex, with the MEDEF International overview you have.
Yeah, well, I agree with what Claude just said. What we tend to see more and more in that is that people are less prioritizing sustainable practices and like, for instance, ecological transition, and they are more focusing on how they can relaunch the economic machine, I mean, the growth machine. And it's a pity, because we should be thinking more about these issues: sustainable tourism, sustainable traveling, how to ensure that people are safe health-wise. I mean, this is important issues to think about. What we see from MEDEF International point of view regarding quality of life issues is that we are going to need some versatile infrastructure in the tourist sector. For instance, we are going to need infrastructure that can be turned happily in something else. For instance, not only hospitals, but I mean resilient infrastructures that can be made into something else, used to have gatherings, used to have hospitals, used to have emergency centers, for instance. this is a topic we've been working on with the task force. And yeah, traveling is also an important issue to be taken into account. And how can you ensure safety, health-wise, ensure security and trust, as I think Carla said, or I forgot who said that, but I think the key word is really trust. Maybe if we can talk a bit about what we are doing with the initiative for essential services. Alba, if you can put the next slide, yes. So we are working on this French initiative for essential services with the key international players, French players that work internationally, the ministries, in the French Partnership for Cities and Territories, Business France, the French Development Agency, the Fonds Mondial pour le Développement des Villes, and all of these international actors. We managed to launch like a focus group to think about these 4 sectors: transportation, mobility, water and sanitation, waste management, and energy. And we are trying to source projects that can promote this change and be a response to the emergency, not only on the emergency, but also on the medium to long term. And we are trying to make every player work together in this crisis. And I think it's also interesting to have the BlueCity approach in this initiative, because we have to innovate in these sectors in order to have other behaviors and other practices, other infrastructure, thinking differently. I mean, and this is, I think it is really an important thing to have from today. Alban, we can't hear you. You're mute. Alban, you have to reactivate your microphone.
Sure, sorry, to disturb. Maybe Mathieu, you want to say something? Yeah.
Yes, maybe. I do agree with Alex's the 2 last intervention, but at the same time, there is so much opportunity, and we have to thinking which position we can take now, because as you said, Alex, everyone is working on how to face the crisis. But at the same time, there is a lot of departments in some province who have to work on thinking the future. So we have time to thinking this future. I'm sure that the blue ocean methods are very well placed to thinking this future. So we have to thinking at the same time so how we can work together tomorrow. And what we can see in South Africa is the fact that a lot of French company is working to support some urgency initiative, but at the same time, they show their capacity and to propose some very interesting offer for the future. So we don't have to thinking that everything is stopped, but we have to thinking the fact that we are working on an urgency now. It's a good way to work for the future and the sustainable cities. It's really my point of view, and we work on that at the French Embassy.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, you're right. Maybe going abroad can be an opportunity for now, because there is a really big need to manage this crisis on an international side. We have, so Stefanos Ipen, I know you are from INSEAD, you're a friend of Jason. Maybe you want to react, Stefanos? I think you are online, Stefanos Ipen. No.
Yes, I'm here. I had to find
Stefanos.
No, Jason and I have been doing Blue Ocean Value Innovation workshops since 2000. And yes, I think in these sectors, And we have worked in some of these sectors. I think Blue Ocean is a good way to have strategic conversations. And yeah, because everything will have to be rethought now. And I'm not really d'accord about forgetting sustainability for the economy. Without sustainability, you'll have problems. You might as well build it into the conversation right away. Can you hear me? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Sure. No, yeah. So I think we're looking at everything again, and the Blue Ocean, as you said, goggles is a good way of looking at everything again. And it gives you a fairly structured system to look at the various aspects, from sustainable to ecological to innovative. I'm not exactly sure in which order, but yeah. I think your BlueCity and your Blue Ocean Awards is a great initiative. I think you're probably the largest operation in this space that I know of. And yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Stefanos, just to be clear, I'm not saying that we should forget about sustainability.
I just brought that up to
okay.
There is a tendency to say, bring the economy back at all costs.
I see what you mean.
Maybe use this opportunity to say, if we're rethinking everything, let's rethink everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but on the other, we have local governments that are not adopting not unsustainable practices in order to promote economical growth. But on the other hand, we also have local governments that are doing many things to exactly to promote the contrary. Like, for instance, the city of Milan, that is doing a lot of things regarding transportation and mobility in order to promote sustainable transportation and
yes.
bicycle, for instance. And we have a lot of these initiatives as well. So you're right, there is hope.
There is hope. Well, if there isn't hope, we might as well just throw the key away and surf on an Okinawa wave. No, I think this is a great initiative. And, I had looked at, India had made a lot of noise about smart cities a few years ago. And I had spoken to Paris Tech about doing something, but the smart city operations in India didn't really come to very much.
Yeah, in France, the topic, we are working on this topic, Blue Ocean strategy for a new city, for a long time, for maybe 3 years. And it's very hard in France. And maybe this crisis can be a way to think about a new...
Yes, no, I think, it's going to force people. Already companies saying stay at home, work from home is really going to change the commercial space. If companies don't need enormous towers, then maybe you need to repurpose the La Défense. And no, I think there's going to be big changes. What exactly it is and what government's priorities will be something else. Maybe it needs to be done at the level of smaller cities.
Yeah, possibly it can be a way. Can be an option.
No, I think this is great. I'll be following this up, because when I looked at smart cities in France, I saw that there were many French companies in the business. And I contacted the French embassy. I came for a conference in Paris, but then I found that the Indian smart city thing was more announcements rather than activity, which is why I suggested Jamshedpur to Jason, because that's it's a small city that has actually been thinking about it for a long time. But yeah. No, sure. I think this is a great opportunity. And,
thanks a lot, Stefanos. Maybe if nobody has other reaction on these topics, I propose we continue because time is running a little. So we will now introduce. Sorry, yeah, somebody is talking.
Yeah, this is Igor.
Igor, yeah, Igor from Orange, yeah.
You know, the title of your presentation was Quality of Life, and I was wondering if you collectively, if you had done any thinking or studies in what quality of life means to the inhabitants of a city, because sometimes we tend to focus, which is good, on specific problems, transportation, energy, waste management, that type of things. But in general, have people taken the time to understand what quality of life meant to citizens in general?
Yeah, exactly. And this can be a way to start a Blue Ocean approach, because starting a Blue Ocean, we will show right now, it's about taking time first to understand the value. What is the key value for these citizens, tourists, companies in the city? So thanks a lot for this reaction. So because it's introduced very well what we will say now. It's about the principles of Blue Ocean strategy. It's the origins are coming from INSEAD with Chen Kim and René Maubonne, you can see here, the two teachers and researchers from INSEAD, and they have created also the Blue Ocean Strategy Institute of the INSEAD. And their research was first about the value innovation. They have identified 150 cases in the history in a lot of industries, more than 30 industries, and they have found key elements in these actors and the ability to focus on the value to create a new market. So they have written two books from 2003 to 2017, Blue Ocean Strategy and Blue Ocean Shift, the second one, Blue Ocean Shift. And their book were sold more than 4 million copies. What is very interesting, it's this strategy is coming from the business vision, the business strategy. And it's very key, very interesting to have this pragmatism, this business approach, and to use it to be more pragmatic in the public services approach, to develop new public offerings. You can see on the slide the key principles for Blue Ocean strategy in the national development, local development. First is to go out of this classical Red Ocean strategy, consisting in benchmarking everywhere, consisting in being techno-push, techno-driven, and to go out of this value-cost trade-off and to be more focused on the value for citizens, for companies, for tourists, and to be not driven by the cost, but to reduce this cost, to be more focused on the value. So what is key is first to be able to simplify the offering. So it's why what we call the factors that should be eliminated, reduced, raised, and created. A second principle is to be inspired by the non-users, and in the National Blue Ocean Strategy, it's about inclusion, how you can understand the experience of the non-users of your public offering. And then it's in the process. It's to conduct a fair process. It means it's not about the what, it's about the how you can make people imply themselves very hardly, to be supporting very hardly the project you are developing, and following the right process to do that. Not telling them to what they should do, but telling them how they can do it. That's why when we conduct a Blue Ocean strategy, and especially a BlueCity, we are here as a team with Jason, with Agnès, with François. We are more a coach in the position of coaching, of trainers, and we don't do instead of the team. So one key principles, it's non-users. You have several kind of non-users. So to be, they are leaving, they are using the public offering less and less. The anti part, they are against the current offering, and the unexplored, non-explored users, they are totally not considered as potential users from the city point of view. So it means they are totally out of the system. They are excluded by the city, by the country, and they have, in fact, found solution by themselves. It's called alternative. The second principle, as I said, is just to focus on the simplification, simplify the current offering, and it means eliminate and reduce a lot of features, a lot of functionalities, a lot of things that you already do, and every city in the world do. And doing that, it will make you able to have a low-cost approach, and to be able to propose new things, raise some values in the offering, and create new values, propose new things that anybody propose currently when you launch your offering. So it's this for actions to create a new offering. So we have a sum up, we make a sum up of this in the Blue Ocean Awards in 2014 with this matrix, Blue Ocean matrix. We use it in the jury every year to understand, for the jury to understand how this startup, this project is creating a new Blue Ocean market. And it's 80% of the mark, of the final mark from the jury to name the winners. And you can see the process, the Blue Ocean Shift process. You will have the same process in the BlueCity program. Of course, it's first understand. It's called visual awakening. Understand how the value is proposed on the perimeter you are considering, you are coming from. So it can be quality of life, it can be sport, it can be tourism, it can be art, culture, and prepare your exploration. So the second step, it's exploration. As we said, it's very key. It will fuel you with insight coming from non-users. And you will understand in this way the experience of your non-users to be able to create a very new offering, very high differentiation compared to other cities, other countries. Then it's ideation. We use at this step the 6 pass, Blue Ocean 6 pass, for instance. You will focus your ideation coming from the exploration result. You will focus on the key value for these non-users and these users in your city. At this step, you have a concept selection, and then you decide which offering you want to build. You will have this step of then offering construction, and the jury. The jury in the BlueCity program, it's a go-no-go jury of the cities taking place in the Blue Ocean Awards editions in Lyon, Bordeaux, Paris, to give a go or no-go to experiment the project in the city, locally in the city. Then I will give, feel free to react and to ask questions in the chat, in the conversation chat window. Then I give the mic to Jason about his case. He has prepared about quality of life from Brazil, Curitiba, very interesting case. So, Jason, you can take the sharing screen. Yeah.
Here we go. So thank you for your time this morning. My name is Jason Hunter. You can find out about me as we go through, but essentially I've been working on blue ocean strategy for about the last, as George said, about 20 years or so. Before it was called value innovation. We're talking about quality of life, and I know there's also a lot of people in the tourism sector here. And they're one and the same. I've worked in tourism, hotels, travel, worked in urban planning. And one thing, well, there's several things I want you to think about during this talk. Number one is, where do the ideas come from? The people we always talk to every day. So here in tourism, we talk to tourists. But oftentimes the best ideas in tourism come from the local community. So that's number one. Where do the ideas come from? Number two, were they able to increase, usually we think that increasing quality of life means increasing the cost. Ask yourself, how were they able to increase quality of life while reducing cost or keeping costs the same? The other one is, where do as far as the ideas come from, did they come from benchmarking or looking across to other areas? So keep those things in mind as we go ahead. This is a picture from my city where I live in Valencia. You can hear my accent is American, but yes, I've lived outside of America for 25 years or so. I live in Valencia. This is a picture of, usually we have favelas, a big festival where they build these big maquettes and then they burn them down. This was supposed to be a woman, the top of a woman doing yoga, and they put a mask on her. It's kind of part of the public-private aspect of communication during the COVID virus. And this is the intersect where I want to talk about, the intersect between public policy and basically the private sector. Because usually we separate the skills. The private sector focuses on efficiency, it's focused on creating value, it's focused on capturing markets. It is very, somewhat technical, and there's a bit of uncertainty there. Public sector is really focused on very certain things: transportation, public health, education. But now there's more and more uncertainty in this sector as well. So I entered strategy through a strange way. My undergraduate degree was in urban planning. My graduate degree was in international affairs, East Asian studies. And so I was doing a lot of work with a lot of, some of it was international nuclear arms negotiations, some of it was climate change, but was trying to find tools to get these very different groups to work together for a common cause. So I looked into the business sector for these tools. And so this is how I began work in the private sector. So ever since then, I've been working both in public and private. And the area where I found, this was called value innovation back in 2001 when I joined INSEAD. But Blue Ocean Strategy had the tools, but that structure to allow you to go into uncertainty. Everything has a risk, but it gave you the tools to go into uncertainty, but giving you the confidence and competence to actually be able to start feeling okay in uncertainty. So I think during these times, it is a very good approach for us to start dealing with, to start addressing the future as opposed to reacting to it. Because if we react, we'll be caught behind. So we must be proactive. So as you'll see in this case, it is a very proactive approach to dealing with the unknown. A few examples, Oban will share with you kind of the overall picture, but these are just ones that I've worked with over the years, and it ranges from the White House, another administration, applying Blue Ocean Strategy to the public sector, everything from the Saudi Ministry of Tourism to Hydro One in Canada. We've done a lot of work with using this approach to help governments, both local and national, to again deal with the uncertainty and to command the future. And most of this has been public-private. I'm going to focus on, as the framework, new urban development. Why new urban development? because we have had a chance to improve quality of life from scratch. So since the 60s, there's been hundreds of entirely new cities that have been sprouting up. Now we have an opportunity to create the ultimate urban environment, the ultimate quality of life. And again, we fail. Why is that? So 40 countries right now have done billions of dollars in developing new cities. The idea of a new city, the idea of a new urban environment is to, number one, I found in all these cities I've worked with, is that they want to prevent brain drain. They want to, especially in emerging markets, they want to prevent brain drain. So they want to build a fantastic new urban city. But it doesn't always work. And we want to look at why. So Brasilia, Putrajaya in Malaysia, Masdar in Emirates, Pudong in Shanghai, Echo Atlantic in Nigeria, Songdo, someone mentioned Seoul. Songdo was made just outside of Seoul to create a new urban environment, and it has some successes and some failures. Robotic Future City in Malaysia, King Abdullah in Saudi, and Indonesia has 27 new city developments alone. These are characterized by completely new organisms. Just raise everything, just tear down everything, or go find some empty land if you have it. Fully master planned, large buildings, automobile centric, and minimal public transportation. This is a strategy canvas. I want to introduce it. This is from the transportation talk I gave the other day, but I want to introduce this as this is the central diagnostic and strategy creation tool we use. The strategy canvas shows you everything you need to know about your strategy. So either private sector or public sector. On the x-axis, you must have price because everything has a cost. On the x-axis are the things that you invest in to create utility. Utility is essentially, I get something from it. Why do I use utility? Because when we say value, we mix things up. Value simply is utility minus price. So we have price here. These are the things that add utility. So the two together gives you value. But we want to separate it. We want to get down to the principal elements of how we create utility here. So that's on the x-axis. Now on the y-axis is how much or how little we offer on each one. So here, the green one, the price is a little bit higher, but they're not focusing on roads, parking, centralized shopping. Go to public transportation, that's higher than the as is. So let's have a look. And here we have our as is, conventional strategy, and this is where we want to go. Now, if we look at as is urban development for these new developments, we have price, urban renewal, meaning that either they tear things down or move into a new area. Sprawl, so it's about moving out as opposed to up. Building size, even though there's still a lot of sprawl, still trying to concentrate. Businesses are in this large building, shopping centers are in this large building, it's concentration. And again, in the future, post-pandemic, will these buildings be rational? We'll have to see. Development time, usually lots and lots of bureaucracy, lots of planning, a little bit of doing, so it takes a long time. Roadways, very, very car-centric. Green space, always have to have it. And public transportation. So what I found looking at all of these, comparing all these new urban developments, is that they really pretty high price. High price, usually funded with bonds, long-term bonds, but still at a high price. Urban renewal, always want to start from scratch. So they either tear down the old structures or they build a new place. Sprawl, so it's all high. Green space is less and less, and public transportation is the lowest one. So that's the as-is picture. This is Brasilia. This is probably one of the first new urban developments in an emerging market. It was created in 1960 by Oscar Niemeyer and Lucio Costa. It was seen as just like the future. It's about rationality, modernism, functionality. It's the capital of Brazil now. They moved from Rio to here. And it has all of the same qualities of every new urban development I've seen in emerging economies. Roads, yes, there's plenty of green area, but it's about functionality, it's about large buildings, it's about structure. And Neymar is a fantastic architect. But as far as livability, the quality of life on an international scale is rather low. Now, this city, Curitiba, I visited twice now. The first time was working with Volvo, and this is because, and I'll get to this, because of their buses. But I was able to meet the architect of this, the mastermind of this city, Jamie Lerner, the first time, and then I became a bit obsessed about the city. So I revisited it again to talk to his people about how do we replicate what Curitiba did. So we had Brasilia, and what they want to do to Curitiba about 4 years later is do the same thing, just tear it down, build these massive buildings, plan it for automobiles. But Jamie Lerner, what he was focused on, he protested against this Brasilia model. And he said, we are not going to do that. And through this protest, he kind of caught the eye of well, it was under a dictatorship at the time, caught the eye of the Generalissimo, and he became mayor. So he took his way of urban planning, his idea of what urban planning should be. And if you were here on the mobility, the transportation talk, it was very much how Barcelona was developed to be, which was have the best of a rural environment, the best of community, the interaction, not the separation of commerce, social aspects, sports aspects, and economy. He wanted to build an integrated city. So what did he do? Number one, what it's most famous for is this bus rapid transit system. It's about, what's very interesting about Jamie Lerner is that he is always people first, but by focusing on people first, environment wins much more. So, and again, these are just examples of what Curitiba has done. And given time, I'll just have to roughly touch on them, and we can talk about them in detail maybe another time. But this bus system, it is essentially, it costs 1%. So everyone said, build a subway. And he said, the subway is too expensive for us at this time. This is 1970s. So he built this bus system, which works just like a subway at 2% of the cost. So while a subway station, or even a light rail station, even would cost $20 million US per station, each bus station here, and so if you look at the tube, it is essentially, you go in kind of like a train station, so you don't stop the bus, and you move it through. So each one of these costs about $200,000. They move 2 million people per day. That, and if you compare that to the London Tube moves 3 million people per day. So it's incredibly efficient. 70% of people use the bus system, and I've taken it many times, and it's absolutely fantastic. Instead of tearing the city down, what Jamie Lerner did, he said, no, we must save our past, because this was happening across all of the developing world. Is just tearing down the old and building new ugly buildings. So he preserved the colonial buildings, and he made the entire city center walking streets. Absolute protest against these, because people were used to, oh, we've got to drive our cars. So as you can see, he did it in 72 hours. And I'll come back to this point a bit later, but he believed everything will get caught in bureaucracy. Everything will get caught in politics. So when someone would say, oh, it's going to take 4 months to do, he would say, no, it's going to take 4 days to do. So you compress everything to make sure that the politics and bureaucracy couldn't slow it down. I'll come back to that. Green space. There's 28 parks. Nearly 1/5 of the city is parkland. Volunteers plant 1.5 million trees, and the city has more than 400 square kilometers of parks. There are, per person, there's 52 square meters, while most city centers have about 2 square meters per person. So it's absolutely open. Sustainability, this is one example of sustainability. They have a garbage that's not garbage. So 70% of the city's trash is recycled by citizens. They're called Crineros. Crineros essentially it kind of translates as those who give tender loving care to the earth. So you can bring your recycling in and you receive either bus tokens or food. So in this picture, people are receiving food. You also get free social programs and health services at these stations. Key, so this is a picture of Jamie Lerner. Key to it is rapid prototyping. You call it urban acupuncture. This is focusing on the factors of disproportionate influence. So you target very specific things that would have a much bigger influence. And learners seem, so again, to avoid, as I mentioned, to avoid red tape, he would do things in 48 hours that would normally take 4 months. So it's a completely different idea from the plan model to this type of model. Now think about how this works with any type of quality of life issue, whether you're traveling for tourism or whether you're staying at home. Each and every one of these is again, focusing on those factors of disproportionate influence, which is so important. And this is the thing. We always love to just say, I know, and just tear everything down and try to rebuild it up. In all of the talks we've done this week, we were looking for the opportunities to rethink and then remodel. If we don't take this time to rethink and remodel, it's a completely lost opportunity for this generation. So what Curitiba did is focusing on the renovation, evolution of the existing system as opposed to just completely tearing it down. So as I mentioned, the bus system carries more passengers than New York City's, 89% approval rating. In Curitiba, even today, 95% of people believe that they live in the best city in the world. Traffic is down 30%, despite that the population's gone up 3 times. Tons of awards. In Jamie Lerner's, he has a great institute, and they have a map, a very, very large map, and it shows all of the cities that have replicated what they've done, all of the people that have visited to learn from what they did in Curitiba. And economically, they still do very, very well, even though it's not in a very rich part of Brazil. So their growth has been 7% higher than the rest of Brazil, and per capita income is 30% higher. So this is the hardest thing for us to do, but right now we have the opportunity to do it, is to stop doing things. This is, as human beings, the hardest thing we have to do, that I always find people, it's hard to stop doing things because as professionals, we're paid to know and paid to do. But here is our chance to do it. This is what Curitiba did, eliminate and reduce. It's incredibly important. Then learning from outside of benchmarking, how do we raise and create? How do we raise and create? So instead of benchmarking to another city or another idea, look across. Every problem's been solved somewhere else. So look outside of your current benchmarking framework. And this is what we raise and create. This is what we call value innovation. Higher value, lower cost. So high utility at the right price and at the right cost. This is what we call the eliminate, reduce, raise, and create grid. It is a very simple tool, but it focuses us. What do we eliminate? What do we do less than what we've been doing before? What do we do more of? And what should we do completely new? And this is the 2B strategy canvas. And as you see, Curitiba is very divergent. It's on the left-hand side, you can see what we're saying no to. It's incredible, again, it's so hard to do, but it's incredibly important to say no to things because it brings down our costs, often brings down pain points. Then what do we do a bit better than what we've been doing? And then what do we do completely new? So the key takeaways here, as I asked you, number one, were they able to increase value and bring down cost? Absolutely. The environmental budget for the city of Curitiba is 1.6%. It's known as the eco city. it's one of the top, it's constantly ranked one of the top 10 or top 5 eco-cities in the world. But their environmental budget is 1.6%. Why? Because they focus on the non-customers of the environment, people. You focus on people, you make a great quality of life for them, they will maintain it. They will maintain it. Remember 1.5 million trees planted. 70% of the trash is recycled. When you incentivize people to make their lives better, boom, it's incredibly important. Private sector is incredibly important. Again, another non-customer. So again, second point is looking at non-customers or non-users. The private sector is incredibly important. That entire bus system, private. Companies pay them per kilometer to run it. And you saw the economic growth factors. Focusing on those factors of disproportionate influence, the last point. Don't just try to spread your money, to spread your influence. Focus on those that will have, as he said, urban acupuncture. Boom. Hit those points. So it's not about planning, but it's about, and of course, you have to think. A lot, and thinking is cheap, especially in these times. Thinking is very, very inexpensive. Mulling over things is very expensive, but if you think strategically, then act strategically and fast, and hitting these factors of disproportionate influence, you get things done. Lower cost, higher value, and a much higher impact. And with that, I thank you for your time, and I hope this provides some insight and some, some food for discussion.
Yeah, propose to share. Thanks a lot, Jason. Very interesting. We propose to have reaction and question in the chat. We can maybe we are a little running after time. Just to give you an overview, there are a lot, as we said in the introduction, there are a lot of blue ocean approach in the world, in a lot of countries. France is the last country where nothing from until now has happened. You can find this example, some of this example, sorry, on the internet site blueoceanstrategy.com. We have put the link here, blueoceanstrategy.com. We have identified since 2014 with Blue Ocean Awards, BlueCity program, we have identified several very interesting French companies who were able to create new values and to create new markets using Blue Ocean strategy in France, in this tourism or quality of life sport, natural space, garden, in this area. For instance, you have here the vintage rides in the tourism. They have created a new service using motorbike to explore and discover a new country, a very wide country, a very wide part of the country. Of course, and we are very kind to have, we are very proud to have Laurent, the founder of Okaina Wave, here. So it's an artificial wave you can create in any water place, in a lake, in anything. There are also Agripolis. You can develop a new garden for vegetables, for fruits on the roof of the buildings. We know, we have also Mamayoka. Mamayoka is very good in employability, to develop the employability in low economical district in the city. And also, for instance, Glowy is developing a natural bioluminescence. It's called bioluminescence lights you can put in the city, and it makes a very magical touch light. And it's all sustainable, of course. It uses zero energy to develop this. You have a list here. We will share of course, all this content. We'll share it with you if you send us an email to direction@blueawards.com. And so, as you can see, we have already identified some very interesting projects since 2014, very interesting startups and now big companies like Laurent with Okaina Wave. BlueCity program, it's, as we said, about building today the city of tomorrow. It's not prospective, it's building today, having an impact right now, today in the city with new services. There are two key principles for BlueCity. First one is open innovation. We know that when we mix all together the public and the private sector, the citizens, the corporates, the startups, the entrepreneurs, the local authorities, when they work all together, they are able to create a very impactful new services. That's why we propose to have mixed teams. And this rapid prototyping, it's very nice because it was also presented by Jason in his case. It's very key also to go very quickly, very fast to testing, to prototyping the ideas. So it's principles of BlueCity. Another principle, it's about inclusion. As we said from the beginning, it's to be focused to understand what is the experience of these non-users, these non-customers in the business approach. In the local public approach, it's about non-users that are excluded from the public services currently. And we will make a focus on them. We'll understand what are the unarticulated needs, what are the existing pain points, which element we need to serve, or which have to be eliminated for reducing the cost. Here you have some example of non-users we could make a focus on, we could address during the exploration. It's a new lifestyle people, it's of course people who are dependent, senior, and it can be with an international overview approach. You can consider that London, Paris, or San Francisco, they are in competition worldwide. And they are in competition to attract new entrepreneurs, new brains, champions, artists, influencers. And these people, they are most of the time outside of the offerings. They are not considered as potential client users of the public services. BlueCity operationally, it's based on the ecosystem we have developed from 2014 with Blue Ocean Awards. To create these mixed teams, we propose to start with the partners we have already in Blue Ocean Awards, and we propose to access the right startup from our database, because we have now a very big Blue Ocean strategy startups and companies now, because they become bigger every year. So we don't start from zero. We start with an ecosystem very strong. MEDEF International now is part of it, and we are very proud of that. And we propose to conduct this BlueCity in connection with Blue Ocean Awards, having this jury of the cities during the event in Paris, Lyon, and Bordeaux. Yeah, you recognize the same process I've presented just 5 minutes ago. It's first a launch, call for applications, and we will set up the groups. This mixed teams, mixing public and private, we'll set up them from May to August, and have an official go in August, maybe September, I don't know, we'll adapt, to start the exploration, to see what these non-users are doing, what they are experimenting, what are the key needs, and then ideation. Here you can see WS, it's workshops. It will be workshop animated by Jason, me, all the team, and to coach, to support, to train these mixed teams with public and private companies, organization. In October, we will start the startup scouting. to identify which startups we need to include in the project to make the project deliver very fast. And then construction of the offerings, new offerings, this Blue Ocean project. And then this project will be presented in front of the jury of the cities we want to organize during the Blue Ocean Awards to have a go or no go to experiment this new project in the city. Here are some example of application fields for BlueCity. And here are some operational budget and options. There are several options in terms of location, in terms of complement in the team. And we would like to end this meetup with some Q&A, question and answer, and next step. Since there have been some question on the chat, maybe if you have some question, feel free to ask them right now, because it's time of question in the chat, or you can take the micro also, of course.
Yeah, it's not really a question, but it's just to react on what Jason said about Curitiba. As I said in the chat, I don't know if some of you went to Curitiba recently, but I feel that they are not committed anymore to this vision of innovative city and city for the people. I mean, the bus system really lacks investment, and I mean, even the Garimpero system, it's not as efficient as it was, and the city became, I mean, maybe too crowded, or some people were excluded from these services, and I feel that it's not committed as much as it was to this innovation. I don't know if you have another opinion. I don't know if some of you went to Curitiba recently, if you can say something about it.
I'm not sure a lot of people have visited Curitiba.
It's a shame.
A tourist destination completely, but it's true. It has slid backward in the last couple of years because of corruption, of losing that vision. And this is what you have to guard. You must guard against is allowing things to slide backwards into the status quo. And so it's a very good lesson. So you can have these revolutions in ideas and design, but unless you're persistent and consistent with them, it's easy to go backwards.
Yeah, to close this, to conclude, we'll conclude in 5 minutes. We propose a poll. I've just launched a poll about your interest to BlueCity with all this content we have shared with you, and this discussion very, very clear, very interesting. We'd like to have your feedback. Do you think you can be interested in joining a BlueCity program? It can be as a local authority, and it can be as a corporate, as an entrepreneur, as a startup. Like we said, it's a mixed team. It's multifunctional teams. From now, yeah, we have some people, 8 people who has already answered to this poll. Most of them are saying yes. So we'll close. Yeah, if you can access the poll in your Zoom window. Yeah, no, 12 people. Yeah, I will close it now. You can see, I will share with you the result. So most of people say yes, especially in joining other local authorities and companies. So this open innovation mindset is very interesting. And yes, especially in the current context. So high majority understand, see an opportunity maybe in this crisis. Yeah, in this context, like Carlos say, because yeah, it's time to rebuild a new city, new services. I will launch now another poll here. It's about you have 3 questions in this poll. It's about on which field you would like to which field would be interesting for you to join BlueCity program? In your opinion, can be tourism, sport, entertainment, art and culture, housing. Second question is about organization, because BlueCity program is very, tailor-made. We adapt it. We can adapt it very easily. It can be very light with some workshop to have some blue ocean ideas, or it can be maybe a third time on a 3-month period, people working on the third time, to have all this process very strong and to develop very big blue ocean projects and offerings, new services at the end, to be ready to experiment them in the city. It can be, for instance, just taking part of some part of the process, like the jury of the city at the Blue Ocean Awards. It can be joining after the jury in the experimentation. Maybe startups can be more interested in this part, I don't know. So feel free to answer this poll. And the third question in this poll, it's about location, because here you have the list of locations we are already in touch with to develop a BlueCity program. It's Paris City or Paris La Défense also. We talked about this 10 minutes ago. It's Lyon City with Agnès. It's Bordeaux City with François Besson, where we have already a Blue Ocean Awards attending. We have Marseille City. We had Avitem just sharing some ideas during the debate. We have South Africa. We were talking about this. We are in touch with the French embassy and with some members of the government there. They will join the Blue Ocean Award this year, and they are thinking about creating their own Blue Ocean Awards in South Africa. Brazil, maybe Jason Noverell, Brazil, Moscow, Saudi Arabia. We are in touch with them. Or other. Do you think about other? So feel free to react on this poll. It's very interesting to have your feeling, your temperature about that. So I will close the poll soon to share it with you. So here you can see the result. So we have a majority about tourism, sport, entertainment, and housing, and other topics. If you can share these topics you have in mind in the chat, please share these topics, because it's interesting to discuss these topics with other people. And regarding the second question, most of people are interested in the most light approach and a mix of full and only jury. And third question, it's a big result on Paris area and other. And the same, you can share in the chat what do you mean with other? What do you have in mind? So, and of course, feel free to contact us on direction@blueawards.com if you want to take part to one of these BlueCity programs. We had at the beginning of the chat, at the beginning of the meetup, we had Michel Levantine, who is in charge of the Airport Paris, the Port Autonome de Bordeaux, Autonomous Airport of Bordeaux, is currently thinking very strongly to develop BlueCity for this, to think again about, to rethink, to redesign how this offering in Bordeaux Airport. So if you are interested in this, please contact us. Do you want to, maybe some people want to react on this poll, react on this question? to take the micro. Maybe, don't know if Avitem is still here, or maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to react on this question, on this poll?
I don't have immediate reactions, but there will be. I mean, we are available to stay in touch afterwards.
Yeah, sure. And for instance, in Marseille, do you think there are some application fields like tourism, sport, etc., or housing, which would be more important for your city?
But I think housing will be quite an important topic for Marseille. Maybe tourism, I'm not sure for the city itself will be a priority. So I would say probably housing will be one of the most urgent topics.
Interesting. So someone want to react, to share his opinion, ask question? Maybe Frédéric from our urbanist today, or maybe Laurent, you want to add something? We have David also still here, David Callis, if you want to react.
Yes, I'm still here. Well, to be quite honest, I don't have much to add. Thank you very much for this third meeting that we have today. Well, maybe I'm just going to share with you some insights about, because part of my job actually, it's basically linked with strategic foresight. So it's also looking for the future from the different perspectives. And this is all true what you're saying, that everything starts to be a little bit more responsible, more sustainable, especially when it's about the cities and how they are smart, how they're connected with the nature. And just recently there was Lee Edencourt. I don't know if you know her. She wrote extremely interesting article. Maybe I'll share a link with you later on, about like the future in this very complicated situation of coronavirus. And she said that we should be grateful because we'll start thinking differently, and we're gonna kind of survive as species. And I think that it opens a lot of perspective for the blue ocean, let's say, glasses, as we said today, to think about the things differently. I think that the future, it's not as positive as we see it, because people have this tendency to not to change like very fast. We tend to repeat the patterns that we're doing for years. So it's kind of a long process, but it's quite important that there are communities like this one that have this very significant approach on thinking new way with kind of new patterns. And if you're familiar with Blue Ocean Tools, this is one of the paths that we have to look across the different industries and find the solutions, not necessarily in the cities itself, but in the industries that are, you know,
on the borders,
around. Yeah, that's what Alban just said, that usually this kind of trend signals are seen not exactly somewhere around us, but somewhere on the horizon, somewhere on the edge of our industry. And Blue Ocean really allows to think about it from that perspective. So that's just my insight that I wanted to just share with you.
I think, David. Maybe Frédéric, you wanted to add something? Yeah, Frédéric Scholler? No. Okay, so maybe it's time to conclude. So maybe Jason, you want to add something before Alex's conclusion?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Frédéric, you are back. You want to add something, Frédéric, or urbanist?
Yes,
your connection.
The question of the future is not good.
No, it's okay now.
Yes.
No, it's bad. It's bad now. Sorry, we cannot hear you.
To write it.
Yeah, Frederic, we cannot hear you, sorry.
Frederic,
yeah.
maybe if you get the camera, your
Yeah,
connection would be better.
Yeah, you can disconnect your video. Yeah, Frederic, yeah.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yes, about sustainable.
We cannot hear you. Sorry, it's not working. It's not working. No, you can maybe type it. Maybe type it in the conversation window. We cannot hear you. Sorry. Are there some other reactions before conclusion? So, Alix.
Yes. Well, thank you all for coming this morning. This was the third of 3 meetups we conducted with Blue Ocean Awards and MEDEF International. The first one, we had a case on Barcelona and mobility. The second one, we had the case on City Ninja and waste and water management. And the third one today was about quality of life, and we talked about Curitiba. So these meetups organized together with Blue Ocean Awards and MEDEF International were an initiative to trying to think together about how we can work together and promote innovation for cities, and how we can offer French companies better services and better establishment internationally. So feel free to reach the Alban or I, sorry. And we are available anytime to talk and to chat with you about your ideas, about what we discussed in the meetups, and your development or ideas internationally. Thank you, everyone.
Have a nice day, everyone.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.